But looks like game number 1 is ready. Baltune versus Myriad. We are jumping into game number 1 here, folks. Once again, this is the round of 16th from the EGC 2023 qualifiers. $25,000 on the line in the main event for 12 players. 10 players already qualified. 2 more will get their spots this weekend. Baltune and Myriad fighting to the end in this best of 5 over here. Only one of these 2 players at the end of this day will keep their chances alive of getting a spot in the in the main event.
Indeed, and here we go. Baltune playing in the color blue as the Mongols, and on the other side, Myriad playing in the color red also as the Mongols. This is Rocky River, one of our new maps in Age of Empires 4 that came in with the DLC. Probably a lot of you are going to be familiar with it, as it is a mix-up of previous tournament maps. It's a combination of dry river and rocky canyons, and with that, we got the little ponds in the middle that each have like 4 to 5 shoreline fish in it, so definitely players are going to be incentivized on going on them. However, we got Mongols against Mongols here, and Mongols are also very strong at going for that Dark Age pressure, and we see both these players opening up with Uvu and with the barracks as well. So Spearman definitely going to be on the menu here.
Of course, and this is where a good micro can actually decide things, but so can the commitment or the undercommitment to army, because I think one of the things that will be important to look at here, Crackedy, is how many spearmen the players are willing to invest into. If you go too heavy on the spears, you will be delayed into Feudal Age, and then you will start missing out on the archer numbers.
Exactly. The question is also going to be if we're still going to be looking at a maybe a little delayed dock during the Dark Age time. But if you don't go for a dock immediately, I feel like the timing can be a little bit dangerous when it comes to your uptime. Both players starting with the double produced spearmen here. And with that, armies are going to be moving towards the middle of the map now. Both players already scout the middle, so they know that neither of their opponent is going to be out on a dock yet. Looking at the spawns right now, Baltune has his Uvu safe in the range of his TC. Myriad has neither his gold nor his stone in the range of his TC. Could in theory move the TC if it was like an absolute kind of disaster scenario where he needs to protect that. But overall, spawn currently favorable for Baltune when it comes to where he places starting TC.
Yeah, Myriad went on to one of these spawns with the spearman, and then he didn't really push a little deeper into Baltune's eco. Just goes to show that his primary plan was making sure that his opponent won't have a dock put down. Now that he sees an increasing amount of spearmen, he's going to have to regroup. He's up to 6 spears himself, all of those were double trained. Whereas on the other side, Baltune actually went for a single spearman at some point. So right now, spearman numbers 7 to 5. Neither of these players will be able to accomplish much with those, right, Crackedy? It's just like one of those cases where you have an identical army, so the best thing that you can accomplish is mutual annihilation. There's Baltune moving in with a villager to drop a dock. Same for Myriad. Myriad is actually venturing all the way to the north, kind of trying to hide that dock from his opponent.
Yeah, denying information, definitely a key point here in the strategy for Myriad. Spearman numbers still in favor for Baltune by quite a bit, and now the villager has to fall back. Khan actually going down. Is the villager going to survive? Movement speed arrow doesn't affect the villager. Spearman still on the hunt, could potentially take down the Khan. Khan going
oh my lord.
On both sides. And
that
the villager goes
down. Catastrophic for Baltune, though. He lost his Khan and he lost the villager building the dock. Dock has been stopped at like 40-50%. And at the same time, Myriad got away with his own dock. That is just such a bad start for Baltune. He's down by about 1.5 villagers. You see, right now the villager gap is 2, but that's not the true number. It's kind of more like half a villager's worth of production, but this is just such an ugly start here for Baltune now, losing the Khan and losing the villager at the same time.
And potentially losing the fight here, as Myriad just has a couple more spearmen out on the map right now. Baltune has to reinvest into that. Looks like he wanted to go for Castle Age at some point, or at least he's been banking up a little bit of food there. Doesn't have any villagers on gold yet. He did move the Gur over. Yeah, Myriad, he's looking to be in a good position here now in the early start of the game. Dock is up, and with that, he's going to be the first one to start fishing.
Yeah, dock is complete for Myriad as well, but he doesn't have the wood to make fishing boats right now. First to make a fishing boat is actually going to be Baltune, a much needed advantage in order for him to catch up and make up for that villager that he lost.
Exactly. Myriad, with that army advantage, might be trying to burn that dock down. He still definitely has the military lead. And the fishing ships on the shoreline, they're also a little exposed. If Myriad just gets one volley of torches out on that fishing ship, it's going to get taken down immediately. Units are trying to. The pathing doesn't really want to play nicely here with them immediately. Yeah, still. There we go. Not yet. And now, spearmen are going to be fighting against spearmen. Couple of very low health spearmen in there. Baltune has still to fall back for now. Myriad's Khan is going to be the first one to go back up.
Yeah, Baltune stopped investing into spears and he went for the gold. He wanted to go to Feudal Age, now has to reinvest into spears because otherwise he loses his dock. It looks like a big fight in the middle and numbers seem to be favoring Myriad here. 17 spearmen on the field against 12. Micro from both sides trying to pull back the injured units, but it seems like Myriad is having the upper hand in this engagement. And now, this dock is more exposed than ever.
And the question is going to be, is Baltune going to be able to delay this attack from Myriad onto his stock to be able to go up to the next age and get an Archer ship out? I don't think so at the moment. I don't think he can, but at the same time, the spearman numbers just aren't there. Okay, he's rushing up the stones with 5 villagers. I think maybe if he rushes it up with a couple more villagers, he can get a better timing up on it. With that, he would be able to get an Archer ship up really, really quickly as well. And now Myriad, the spearmen, are going to be pushing further into the base from Baltune. And Baltune's gold is not protected, but he doesn't need it anymore. He does have enough gold for everything that that he could want now.
It's more about the fact that you want to push away those spearmen so you can attack the dock, as Baltune has finally found the dock of his opponent as well. Baltune only has a villager to fight that vill off. Looks like the dock might actually go up, as he's once again looking to torch down this dock from his opponent here. A crazy micro battle back and forth, it seems. And it looks like Myriad would just fall back to his own pawn, trying to torch it down. Spearman is just going to be a little too late to the party. Dock is going to complete just before the Spearman arrives.
Both players trying to go up to the next age. Baltune is going to be a little bit earlier. And with that, there's always the potential of a sneaky demo ship coming out. Oh, look at that turnaround. And with that, 3 spearmen going down immediately for Baltune. The army number now almost double for Myriad.
Yeah, and Baltune has lost 2 villagers in this game. Myriad has not lost a single eco unit just yet. 20 spearmen against 13 right now. This is the window that Myriad has been looking for. Baltune is up to Feudal Age. He's trying to get a galley out, but it's not actually being built on this pawn, but on the pawn that Myriad has his dock in. Myriad a little later into the Feudal Age when it comes to rival, but I think he might be able to torch this dock down before this ship spawns.
No, the ship is going to spawn. It's going to only like 5 seconds remaining. And all of these units are clumped up right now. If this was a demo ship, it would be even worse for Myriad, but now the Archer ship is going to be there. It's going to be doing a lot of damage here onto the Spearmen from Myriad. If they stack up, but it's going to be split formation.
Momentum is swinging heavily in the favor of Baltune over here. He has the first combat ship out, and now Myriad has to fight for his dock here if he wants to get a combat ship out himself.
And he definitely has to. There's still a lot of fish remaining in that pond. A lot of potential food to be gathered. The ship is not out quite yet. It's going up on the fishing ships as well. Myriad trying to micro around the shots, and there we go. Springle ship now coming out. And Baltune immediately cues a demo ship behind that.
Yeah, still, he's losing most of his spears over here in this engagement. He's also going to lose his galley. So spearman numbers now disappearing here for Baltune, losing a lot of precious units in this engagement, but he still has presence on the enemy pawn. And now the demo comes in, beautiful shot, but the war galley does survive here. Fishing boat's keeping it alive, the dock is keeping it alive as well. Dock is on fire though, and there is not a single villager nearby to repair this. Looks like Baltune will slowly take control over this pond.
Villager is going to be pulled, but I think that's going to have to be a new dock. I don't think he's going to be able to repair that one in time. It is very low now, and there's also a couple of spearmen there. So that pond is going to be definitely contested here for a little bit longer. Our dock is getting set on fire as well. Baltune right now, he's the only player with archers out. And that's going to help him a lot against the purely spearman-based composition right now from Myriad. But Myriad, look at that. Pooling up resources. Might be looking for a castle age here soon. Of course, as soon as I say that, he is starting to grab upgrades and start making his own archers. Might not be a castle age after all.
He's still banking up a lot of resources, and I think the key thing to look at here is the gold count. He's not making any more combat ships at this point. In fact, right now he doesn't even have a dock to do so with. So the fact that he's still so heavy on gold makes me feel like he actually wants castle, and honestly, Crackedy, I wouldn't be against it. I feel like here in Feudal Age, you probably can't decide this. Baltune is making archers, you're also making archers. So the best course of action for Myriad might be to try and get to castle, get some lancers going, start picking up the relics. And once he has that, he could actually try to finish this game quickly with some raids.
Yeah, that could be the play here for him. Still though, more archers coming out. He does have a lot of villagers on wood right now. He gets all the relevant upgrades for his wood gathering as well. Wheelbarrow and double broadaxe coming in. With that, his wood gathering is going to be very, very nice. Could also be looking for a second TC, since he is pooling up quite a lot of wood now behind all of that. And not reinvesting too much into more production buildings and archers. I think this might be a castle age and maybe like a castle age and 2TC kind of play from him. This could be dangerous, though. Both players actually pooling up a massive amount of wood right now.
I think both of them are feeling that they just can't break the opponent in a quick strike. So at this point, you have to play for the long game. Myriad is going to have to pull back. He's outnumbered pretty heavily when it comes to the archers. But once again, he's going to have the safety of his own base over here. He's going to be able to regroup. His berry villagers are more than exposed here. Opportunity for Baltune to do some damage. Villagers getting caught in the crossfire, but they're pulled back just in time. Baltune is doing a lot of damage with this, though, Crackedy. Archer number is just not there right now for Myriad.
Yeah, it looks like Myriad, he's not double producing as well. Now he only just now started double producing his archers. He did have a lot of stone saved up. Keshik also gonna be produced here. It's gonna take a while for him to come out. Archers now being picked off right from the production buildings. Baltune still has a good amount out there. And that is gonna mean that there's not gonna be a ton of archers coming out here. 2 spearmen as well, so the Keshik that comes out, he's immediately gonna find himself countered.
Yeah, that's a big thing right now. 2 more archers pop out. A lovely move from Baltune, keeping the spearman at the back, waiting for the Keshik to pop. Here comes the first Keshik, though. Archers trying to focus down the spears, doing a decent job in that department, but the Keshik is now gone. Slowly but surely, Myriad is cleaning this up, but this is turning out to be a very costly engagement for him.
Indeed, indeed. A lot of units did go down there. There's also some spearmen coming out, but those are just going to get taken down immediately by the archers there. And second TC has been built by Baltune behind all of that. So not only did he win militarily, but he's also in a good spot when it comes to the economy scaling here.
Well, we say that, but he's down by 7 eco compared to Myriad, and his food eco was very underwhelming in the next couple of minutes.
That's because of the
about
fishing.
100 food per minute. Now he's up to 300, but you see, he might actually struggle to mass-produce villagers on 2 DCs right now.
You're right, Baltune. He doesn't have a lot of food in the bank. He's currently got 300 food per minute income. And you need all of that food just to be able to constantly produce villagers from your 2 TCs. Myriad now also has the resource to be able to drop a second TC. What is he doing instead? I think it's going to be a mass pasture transition here for him now. He just spent a lot of wood in 150 wood increments, so I think Myriad just dropped a bunch of pastures around his TC. And that could be a very good play here for him.
Indeed. He was heavy on the berries, so he definitely had issues when it comes to the food income. Maybe he wanted the second TC, he's now piling up wood once again, but he's willing to delay this simply because he needs that pasture transition. On the other side, I don't think we have a lot of pastures for Baltune, and at some point we are going to have to see a transition to that, and I guess I stand corrected, he's got quite a few and they're all buffed by the Ovu.
The Uvu that just got depleted, so he's going to have to rebuild that somewhere else, so these pastures aren't going to be boosted by much longer. But still, he has a good bunch of sheep around his TC, so he's definitely in a good position for now. Myriad, he just needs the gold right now to be able to go up to the next age. He builds an outpost on his gold to have that further secured. And so far, he's still even when it comes to or rather a little bit ahead when it comes to the eco count. But that's not going to last him so long, because these are only shoreline fishes out on the ponds. Those are going to expire at some point in time. They don't regenerate like the deep sea fish. So at some point in time, Myriad is going to be losing roughly 8 economy units.
Yeah, he's got 2 bonds under his control compared to the only single bond that Baltune has. But he is piling up a lot of wood, so there will be a second town center eventually from Myriad as well. He does have a massive head start going into Castle Age, though, compared to Baltune, and he's also piling up quite some Keshik. And once he gets to Castle Age, those Keshik will become terrifying against an army that is essentially exclusively archers, excluding 3 spearmen that supports them.
Spearmen could still be an issue, though. So Myriad could also be looking into just making a ton of men-at-arms. Those don't really have a huge counter in the feudal age, aside from some Keshiks, but Keshiks are expensive. And Myriad, he's banking up a ton of resource now. Still has a lot of wood. Step Redoubt is being built now. It's gonna be interesting to see what unit exactly he's gonna be going for. Do we see any additional production buildings, or is it just a couple stables? You have 1 barracks.
Well, yeah, he moved his Ovu. But yeah, only on a single stable. He doesn't even have a lot of stones, so double production isn't going to be a thing for him, at least not initially. He does have 6 archers, has 4 Keshik though. You feel like he isn't going to have that terrifying force to start with, but this is going to be a good force when it comes to raiding, and this is also going to be a good force when it comes to securing map control, allowing Myriad to start picking up the relics. Speaking of which, most of the relics have spawned on the far east, so there's definitely a higher concentration for those on the east. It kind of increases the significance of that portion of the map here in early castle.
Myriad, he's got a couple of Keshiks there in the back. Those might have been scouted out, though, by Baltune. He had his Khan nearby. And now Age-Up has come in for Myriad. What's he going to be producing? More archers from the looks of it for now. He's also getting a ton of upgrades. Upgrades on the Keshiks as well. So it might just be an Archer Keshik kind of play here. I hope he plays a couple additional production buildings, since he definitely is floating a ton of resource right now, which he will want to turn into units. A couple of villagers do get taken down here. But there's still the movement speed buff. Wheelbarrow and the Yam Aura makes it so those villagers are going to be very, very quick to retreat.
Oh, beautiful demo! What a lovely move by Baltune. Myriad not paying attention. All the archers now sunk to the bottom of that pond. Oh my lord, Crackedy. Talk about a big momentum swing.
Yeah, that hit definitely had to hurt. We can still see the bodies there now. Myriad, he's going to be going for a men-at-arms and crossbowman composition. Definitely one of the more efficient ones, but now we see Baltune going up with the Kurultai. And that might actually buy him the army strength that he's going to need in order to be able to buffer up these men-at-arms, because he's immediately going to be getting an attack damage upgrade on all of his archers with the Kurultai. And he's already got 24 of them out there, so they're going to be doing good damage even against heavily armored units.
Now, speaking of heavily armored, even the first range defense upgrade is missing from Myriad. Part of the reason why he took so much damage on the Keshik from the town center. And this is something that Baltune can use over here. He does have the ranged attack upgrade, the first one that is. He's going to have veterancy on these archers very soon. And when you have such a huge amount of archers against only a handful of Keshik and men-at-arms, and those Keshik and men-at-arms are even lacking some of the armor upgrades, this is a surprisingly good engagement for the archers.
Yeah, exactly. Especially since more than half the army, or rather a good chunk of the army from Myriad, it's crossbowmen and archers, so those aren't going to be faring too well even against the feudal age archers from Baltune, and the upgrade is going to be coming in, so these are going to be veteran very soon here.
Yeah, Myriad is going heavy on the crossbows as well, mixing in some men-at-arms. For Baltune, this is just going to be that Keshik plus very heavy archer combination. Whereas for Myriad, we have a mix of everything, but at the end of the day, he doesn't have an overwhelming amount of heavily armored units. Especially when you consider that he's also going to be facing some spears that can do very well against the Keshik.
Little raid coming in now for Baltune. Villagers here aren't going to be in range of the Yam Aura, only now when they move back. So now they're going to be able to run away. There's a ton of pastures here right now, and Myriad, he's floating a lot of resource still that he definitely needs to put into more production buildings. And he definitely needs a bigger army now. He's going to be able to repel that attack at the same time. Goes for his own raid, but Baltune is prepared. Has some spearmen, archers, and Keshiks as well.
Yeah, the lack of second DC is actually haunting Myriad over here. He's actually setting up some trade in the corners quite early on, I must say. But
it's the wrong side.
He's actually floating a lot of gold, as Vodka is highlighting. He's down by 15 eco, though, mostly because he was still on a single TC.
He built the markets on the wrong side.
What? Maybe he just wants... Yeah, but the market trick doesn't even work anymore, right? So
He's sending them over to the other side now. He noticed. He's sending them over to the other side.
He's lucky that he's Mongols, man. Oh my lord, the markets do get intercepted by the Keshik here. Luckily, some men-at-arms are here to support, but that could have been very underwhelming for Myriad.
Yeah, but now Baltune is going to know that his opponent is going to be going over to trade. And still, looking at the army count here, Baltune, he's got so many resources piled up behind having such a big army lead. I wouldn't be surprised if he's going into an Imperial Age here at some point in time. Look at the amount of pastures he has, probably like a similar amount than what Myriad has. 12 pastures, and yeah, he's pretty much got his entire food transition done at this point in time.
Nice little cleanup on the flank, but this pulled the entire army that Myriad had to the flank. Makes me wonder if Baltune is going to make a push now, because he has a definitive population lead. Eco is better, army numbers are also better, though the army value is a lot smaller for Baltune. Probably because of all these men-at-arms and Keshik mixed in for Myriad. It's a very infantry-heavy composition, though, from Baltune. A lot of spears, a lot of archers, and no siege on the other side to deal with this.
Exactly. Big villager lead as well, and the pawns, they're probably just about dried out right now for Myriad, so he's about to lose even more economically here fairly soon. He's also moved a lot of his villagers to to another large gold mine out on the map. So he's gonna have a little bit of downtime there. He wants to go into siege, but Baltune, he's not waiting around. He's trying to push in immediately. So he's not gonna leave Myriad any time in order to get some siege out, and now the attack is gonna get forced on him.
Yeah, Keshik upgrade is in for Myriad, but he only has a handful of them. They're actually charging into the Spearmen. Men-at-Arms is not a unit that Baltune has an answer to, though, and he likely will have to fall back here. He's playing aggressive, though. Coral Die has been deployed. He does have the Coral Die buff to help out his army. He's facing a lot of Men-at-Arms, though. I don't know, Crackedy. The lack of armor-piercing power might be the undoing over here for Baltune.
With the Curl Tie, though, as soon as the Curl Tie came in, we saw the damage actually spike immediately on those archers. They went from doing +2 damage to doing +4 damage, and that is going to be enough to, in combination with their mass and faster attack speed, be able to shred those men-at-arms.
And they did. Myriad is down to 5 men-at-arms. He has 18 crossbows, but none of those are useful against archers. Villagers now getting caught here as well in the crossfire. Myriad pushed against the wall here. His only hope is that Mangonel working out for him. Baltune, not a single Springald on the field. He's going to fall back a little to regroup. Myriad living to see another day, but he needs to be cautious. Mangonel needs to make something happen here for Myriad. It's pushing all the way to the front, but looks like it hasn't been deployed just yet.
Khan rises once again. Now the trade, it's being set up here by Myriad. He's getting some traders out. Baltune still right now with the economy lead.
Yeah, Baltune is pulling away with this game, you feel. He actually hasn't secured a single relic despite having a lot of map control, but he now has 30 eco worth of a lead. And I think the big sign for the struggles of Myriad is his food eco. He's down to 400 per minute as compared to Baltune's 2000, and that is going to show on the battlefield very soon, as Baltune is even creeping up with some towers to shut down this would-be trade.
It's going to give him a lot of potential aggression here, but Myriad might spot that out in time and be able to attack onto that. Looks like Baltune also, there's a ton of pastures, but I'm not sure how many villagers that is, but apparently it's too many. It's 50 villagers. Yeah, I think he needs probably like 6 or 7 more pastures in order to be able to deal with that many villagers there. Look at the amount of food that he has right now, even with all of those idle villagers. He's getting a ton of food right now.
Yeah, I think he needs to... First of all, he needs to go into Imperial. That's exactly what he was waiting for. The White Stupa is coming in. That is going to help a lot for those pastures. I'm actually wondering if he has all the carcasses available. They're just cluttered on top of each other, so the villagers can't access them. That would explain why the villagers are so cluttered, but Baltune still has a lot of food eco. So, yeah, maybe he just needs to spread out the rally points for those pastures.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
Yeah, that hurts. That definitely hurts. You want to just put them on the TC. Sure, it's going to be a little bit more distance between the sheep and the TC, but at least all your villagers are going to be working. Traders getting sniped out here just by a couple of Keshiks. definitely hurts Myriad. He's in a rough position right now.
Yeah, Myriad is just in such a terrible position, especially now that Imperial Age hits for Baltune. He is still the one with the Kurotai. He's the one dictating those fights. And once he has the elite upgrades in, I just don't see Myriad being able to stop this. Baltune could get roller shutter triggers for his Springald, so he can outrange the ones from Myriad, but he might not even need to at this point. If Myriad moves out of his base, the Kashyyyk, maybe the men-at-arms, they can just catch the Mangonels. Villagers have to flee here from Myriad once again. He needs to expand, but he simply cannot with the army he has right now.
Exactly, and now gold has to be evacuated here by Myriad. Some men-at-arms are going to be making their way on them, but the archers in the mass that Baltune has, it's just too much. The couple of men-at-arms, they just can't even gap close. By the time they arrive, they're already dead here. And with that, the gold control for Myriad is going to be waning.
Yeah, Step Redoubt also being shut down over here, so it's not just the fact that the traders are getting raided, villagers are getting picked apart, no gold access to Myriad. He was actually pretty close to losing the key landmark that boosts his gold income. Looks like he's going to be able to pull that away, but he's now down by 40 eco. The army numbers are there, and that's something that you have to give Myriad credit for, but now he's facing a very significant technological deficit.
Myriad going for a couple of raids. Does cause some idle time there in the economy from Baltune. Raids, though, I think are going to be cleaned up fairly quickly here. Villagers once again start working.
Yeah, I just
Myriad,
don't know.
He has no gold to go up himself.
Yeah, I just don't know if this was good for Myriad. He killed a couple of villagers, sure, but he's still down by 30, and he had to sacrifice a significant amount of Kashyyyk for this. You see, his cavalry all disappeared.
The Imperial Age Khan. Look at the attack damage that dude has. He's just going to be able to kill the traders by himself. Look at how much damage he does with every shot. It works, and he's got a ton of HP too. This is... He's like Jeanne d'Arc right now. He's living the fantasy.
Big fight unfolding over here. Kurotai won't be deployed here in the proper position. It's going to be body blocked by the crossbows. Mangonels setting up over there. First volley gets a beautiful hit on Baltune's forces. Baltune has to think twice about this. He doesn't have the Kurotai aura, but he does have the elite units over here. Mangonel shots coming in clutch for Myriad. And this fight is turning out to be a lot better for him than it should be.
Now Cavalry is trying to dive onto the Mangonels. Does get taken out before any of the Mangos go down, though. Mangonels keep taking some good hits here. The army on both sides is going down rapidly, but I think Myriad just took a way better engagement, as he said, than it probably should have been here for him. And the archer numbers from Baltune, they're rapidly falling.
Yeah, and don't forget, he doesn't have crossbows right now. He has just now started mixing in some of them. And without the Kurotai, his archers struggled badly against all these men-at-arms, and the Mangonels, they too come in clutch. Myriad has been taking an astonishing fight over here. Kurotai a little too late to support this. So many of Baltune's troops have fallen. He's down to just 20 army, but he does have consistent reinforcements coming in, and he's making a shift into horsemen, something that Myriad doesn't have a direct answer to.
Yeah, I mean, crossbowmen, they're considered a core unit for a reason. They still do decent damage, even against these elite horsemen with all the armor upgrades. Now, yeah, I mean, Myriad, it suddenly started to shift a little bit. Now he's got the military advantage. Now, Baltune, he's still almost 40 economy units ahead. And I think he can definitely just replenish all the military units here in time. He has a huge queue of units.
Look at this, all the cavalry coming out. They have been held in reserve. Now they come in with the help of the Kurotai. And they have this window to flank the Mangonels. This is exactly what Baltune has been waiting for. Gets a beautiful surround on the archers and the Mangonels.
Nice dodge.
Crossbows also helping out here. And now Baltune is very close to cleaning this army up.
Yeah, army soon to be cleaned up. Some beautiful dodges coming out there with the crossbowmen. Once again, just dodging that Mangonel shot beautifully there. Myriad still somewhat able to remain there, but not for long. Military numbers still trading against each other. Roughly even numbers now, but Myriad behind that, he's just not finding that window to be able to go up to the next stage himself.
He certainly bought himself a lot of time over here, and don't forget, he's been trading actively behind this. He's doing the right things to drag this game out, and he now has a respectable food and gold income. If he can drag this game out a little more, he will have a window to get to Imperial, but his army has gotten shattered, and right now, he's 50 population behind compared to his opponent, and this is the window that Baltune needs to utilize to finish the game.
And now with the Horseman as well, he's going to be able to raid the trade once again, raid the gold income from Myriad as well, and Myriad's army just doesn't have the composition to be able to defend multiple spots here at the same time.
Goldmine once again exposed. Myriad down to just 24 army. Springgold's also getting caught off guard here. And now the Kurotai finds a decent deployment position, ready to start assaulting the enemy base over here. Baltune still with not a single Springgold to anti-siege against all these Mangonels, but now he's got a lot of horsemen. He's going to start dispatching those to the flanks to try and hurt the traders, try to hit that gold mine to the east as well. And right now Myriad's army is very slow. Catching up to all these horsemen is going to be a challenge for him.
Yeah, exactly. Even if the Kashyyyks do get there, they're still going to be a lot slower than the horsemen. Then again, there is the Yam-Aura movement speed for Myriad. He's got a couple of outposts there. Maybe with that in combination, the Kashyyyks might be able to buffer out, but I think if the horsemen just focus onto the villagers, onto the traders, they're still going to be able to kill a lot of economy units here, and that is exactly what Baltune's doing right now. Fight at the same time, happening again. Mangonels. Baltune has to be careful. It's only the range units remaining here with the Kurotai.
Yeah, indeed. His Kurotai is also a little exposed. Mangonels once again getting some beautiful shots. Dodges are decent, but still the edge of this formation is caught by the Mangonel fire. Has to call back the Kurotai. For now, he's doing a great job with the raids, and he's still maintaining consistent pressure on the eco of Myriad. Myriad, his food eco is there, his gold eco is there, but he's forced to take suboptimal engagements against a much higher deck army on the other side. But he's taking good fights, Crackedy. He's been taking out the horsemen. He's been buying a lot of time for himself here.
And time is definitely what he needs, but he also needs that window to be able to use that time to be able to go up to the next stage. Mangonels trying to get sniped here by the horseman. First Mangonel goes down. Second Mangonel is gonna go down as well. Does get taken down. And now there's no siege remaining for Myriad. Additional 2 Mangonels are gonna be in queue. And the Kurotai once again gets parked at the front of Myriad's base. Exactly next to the siege workshops where those Mangonels want to be coming out from.
And exactly next to the Lumberjacks, Crackedy. This is a big weakness right now for Myriad. His food eco has taken a damage. His gold eco has been consistently raided. Now his Lumberjacks are being denied in a position where he's very reliant on siege weapons. Myriad has to charge in with the Kashyyyk and the Men-at-Arms here, take a fight against Kurotai buffed crossbows. This is a fight that should never work out for him. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing. Mangonels popping out here. Might get some volleys, but the horsemen jump on them quickly. Kurotai healing is going to offset all the damage that the Mangonels managed to do.
And the Mangonel once again gets taken down. I feel like with that, Myriad does not have a chance to get back into this game, and GG gets called.
What a lovely back and forth we had here, Crackedy. Really, Myriad held on for so long despite the dire circumstances. And if I would have to make a guess on where this slipped for Myriad, it was that second DC never being there. He was always playing from this position of weakness eco-wise, and despite the fact that he tried to catch up using trade, that has been shut down very effectively by Baltune throughout the game.
I think Myriad might have not known exactly when that second TC for Baltune came up. Maybe he thought that the second TC has been up for a while and that he just wouldn't be able to come back with his own second TC, and he tried to go for like the fast castle approach into trying to get a timing push onto Baltune. But that never really worked out for him. He definitely still had a couple of chances to go for that second TC. We saw him floating the resources a couple of times to get it up, but just never happened. Instead, he opted going into the trade route, which didn't work out there for him, just because Baltune at that point in time, he got the knowledge early on. He managed to get the high movement speed units, and he's been able to deny the trade time and time again there.
Oh yeah, certainly. And with that, it is Baltune putting up a point on the board over here. Big win, it is on the neutral map. And we talk about this very often, Crackedy. Neutral map is often the key to a set. Beyond that, all you gotta do is win your own home maps, which is often easier said than done, but it definitely sets Baltune up to be in a good position here. Winner of this set will be facing either Divine DFP or Garnath in the quarterfinals of these qualifiers. But first, we gotta take a look at some additional games here, Crackedy. Let's take a quick look at the draft here between these two players and see what Myriad opted as the second map of the series.
All right, it is gonna be thickets, and oh, this looks like a beautiful position here now for Myriad. That looks like a
Mm.
with Ayubitz, I think he might just be able to get a really clean game in on this map. We've seen Ayubitz a couple of times just being so strong on these hybrid maps because they get a couple of different bonuses that they can choose between with their House of Wisdom, and they got one choice where on a hybrid map they pay a lot less resources for their age up, and it's going to be coming in a lot quicker as well. With that, what we've seen previously is people going for like a 3-minute feudal age and having those, like even on a hybrid map, 3-minute feudal age, and having those archer chips out really quickly and be able to completely deny the water expansion from your opponent. Now the question is going to be, Roots used to be like one of the strongest civilizations on water, having like a really fast archer ship kind of rush build for them, where you only go for like 1 to 2 fishing ships, and after that you rush up the next stage as soon as possible. The Ayubits can do that too, but better, it feels like. So it's gonna be a question if Baltune is gonna be able to get an expansion out on water at all in the first place.
Yeah, I gotta agree, and this is, I think, going to be one of the more lovely showings of this old versus new setup that we talked about previously. Rus, the king of hybrid maps for multiple months, probably the reason why this was by far the most banned civilization in previous competitive events. Whereas the new kid on the block, Ayubid's somewhat unexplored, but definitely a powerhouse when it comes to hybrid maps. So much so that Baltune has not gotten access to that thanks to a ban coming in from Myriad. Myriad is going to have the new civ on the block. Baltune does have the brute force civilization, the powerhouse of previous patches, previous versions of the game. What do you think, Crackedy? Do the Ayubits have what it takes to take out the Rus here?
I think when it comes to the timing, Ayubits should definitely have a quicker feudal age timing when it comes to the aggression. The question is going to be, can Baltune survive that early timing and then get up his own ships? Because we usually see Rus, they don't need that many fishing ships, so he's able to save them up inside a dock for a while without losing them. I guess we're about to see what exactly is how this is going to be played out as the game just started. And here we go, our game number 2 between Myriad and Baltune in the EGC Finals qualifiers. Both players looking to be going out for a dock here on Thickets. Thickets, one of the new maps that we have here in the Sultan's Ascent DLC. Got this beautiful hybrid map with a small island and a sacred site in the middle of it. There's a boar as well, so if you feel like you need a little bit additional food on top of all the fish in the sea, you could potentially go out there.
Now, hear me out, Crackedy. Especially with the Rus, if you gain water control and your opponent gives up on the pond, that's a prime spot to transport some villagers to. It is
And
a
you can take it
completely
down easy.
unraidable boar, and you can even
Yeah.
convert your transport ship into something else once you're done.
Exactly. Convert a transport ship, but also if you have a springle ship out, you can just kill the boar with a springle ship
True
and
that.
immediately get like 75 bonus gold.
Yeah, that's a big factor as well, of course. Bounty, always relevant in a Rus matchup. Only one scout on the field for the time being for Baltune. He has taken out, I think, one patch of deer already. One patch spawning very close to the player's base is part of the reason why Rus is a powerful civilization on this map. And then one patch of deer spawning pretty far away. As Vodka is kind of highlighting to us, given that this is a brand new map, I think this is a good moment to take a look at the features of this map, the thickets. I think this is one of those maps where the spawns are fairly predictable. You spawn on the opposing sides of the pond. Neutral markets are in the eastern and western corners, and the neutral sacred sites will be to the south and the north, with the third one being on the neutral island in the middle.
Something cool to also note is that when it comes to deer, sure, the players do have like a deer pack close to each other, but these deer packs that are close to the players, they only consistent of 5 deers. So you don't have that full 7 deer pack. Instead, it's going to be a pack of 5. Oh, well, Myriad able to snipe one of the deer there with his villager.
Yeah, nice little touch by him, sending out the villager, so he can use his scout to either collect sheep or to go for the second patch of hunt that's out in the middle of the map. House of Wisdom on the way for Myriad, and this is where we have to kind of allude to what exactly the choice of the age-up is going to be here for the IOBID player. We've seen IOBIDs use a variety of options on standard land maps, but on hybrid maps, I'm not so certain. I'm thinking extra villagers or extra wood could probably be the best tool of accelerating your water expansion.
I think on water, what we've seen so far is that that culture wing option where you go for the really, really fast age up. But I feel like Myriad's missed the timing a little bit. Not only do you pay less resources for the age up, but it's also getting researched quite a bit quicker. And the Kremlin is already coming in. I think Myriad definitely has to go for that faster age up. If not, then we might be seeing the main strength of the Rus here come out fairly quickly.
Yeah, that's a great point you bring up, actually. Going for the cheap and quick age up is almost a must-have at this point. I'm actually wondering if he's going to go for that, though. He is behind when it comes to feudal age timing. He's very low on gold. That's part of the reason why. And indeed,
It is that.
There it is.
Okay. So only a minute until he reaches the next age. Now, this is a little bit of a suboptimal build. That's probably just because the Ayubid's new civilization, the builds just aren't quite there yet, the build orders. But it's still going to mean that he's going to have a lot of resources remaining. Once he gets to the next age, he's going to save a little bit up there. He can put more villagers over on wood. But also, the age up is going to be coming in much quicker for him. So he immediately has the ability to deal with that fast age up that Baltune's going for with the Rus. And what the Rus usually do in this kind of situation is they convert one of their ships into military ships. So we see 2 fishing ships here for Baltune. He's going to be able to convert those. And with that fast feudal age, I think Myriad should be able to react to that in time.
Indeed, that's just the common build here for Rus. Fishing boat gets pulled, so he can just park right next to the enemy fishing boats. And the moment you reach feudal age, you can convert that into a combat vessel, as you see the progress bar right there. 20 seconds to go until you convert it to a Lloyd galley. Of course, Crackedy, one of the big things here is that you can garrison a couple of your fishing boats into the dock. So even though you will take some damage on the fishing boats, Baltune, he might not be able to take out any of these fishing boats before the arrival of that buglaw.
Yeah, exactly. Fishing ship does make it in time. Micro looking good. For Myriad is going to be able to save that one as well. He does, and now the backlat is going to be coming in. And this is really where the fast feudal age for the Ubits kind of saves them here, right? Because without that, the backlat probably would have been delayed by an additional 30 seconds to maybe a minute even. Yeah, maybe even more than a minute actually. And with that, I think there would have been not a ton of counterplay here for Myriad if he didn't go for that. And this is what makes the Ayubits such a great water civilization at the moment.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. Rushing that feudal age up obviously eliminates the biggest weakness that the Abbasids have on many of these hybrid maps, that is the slow age of the feudal age. And it allows you to get that combat ship out before you would start losing your fishing boats. Speaking of losing units, Baltune almost losing his scout right next to the enemy town center. Now we have some demo ships coming in from both players, alongside some buglaws and of course some Lloyd of War galleys. This demo is a little exposed over here. A freebie there for Baltune, taking it out with the galley.
Yeah, that's a lot of value here gained for him. Myriad gets 2 backlogs out now, so Baltune has to be careful. And another thing here to notice that the Rus demo ships, they're quite large. They are very large. They have a bigger hitbox, so the archer ships from the Ayubits can hit a couple more shots and kill those demo ships really, really quickly.
Yeah, double Baglas over here coming in. Thou supporting from the back line as well. Demo is queued up as well for Myriad. And we have 2 demos flanking in from Baltune. He might be looking to hit the fishing boats here. Demo as well on the other side. 2 Thous from Myriad should be able to repel this, though. And it looks like we have a bit of a status quo here on water, at least for the time being.
Stalemate here for now. Both players are just going to try and max out their economy behind that. Something that's good here for Myriad is he's already grabbed double Broadex. Baltune is now getting double Broadex. Baltune, as a Rus, he's getting 20% bonus wood. A little bit of engagement here. Both players so far just looking at how much military the other player has. Nobody really wants to engage yet at this point in time. Demo ship tries to go for it, but Yeah, right now, one of the sprinkle ships is fairly low health here for Baltune. Has to be careful with that. Doesn't want to lose that for sure.
Yeah, both of these players just kind of poke around at this point. But one thing to note is that behind this, Myriad does have an eco lead of 4. He definitely went for a lot more fishing boats than his opponent. Though, of course, we shouldn't forget that Ru's fishing boats are worth a lot more than their population hit would indicate. And of course, you also have that wood boost that you just alluded to. Still, for the time being, Myriad does have the numerical advantage on the eco department. Bit of a dive in here.
Also looking good. There's a ton of bugglers out right now. Demo ships, not in position right now for either player. Now they're pushing forward. Archer ships they're not able to take them down. Oh my god, 2 demos go down.
Lord.
Two backlers go down for Myriad. That's a lot of value gained. Look at the destruction value shooting up there for Baltune.
Yeah, Myriad was very aggressive with the buglas to the front. He actually kind of surrounded the Lodya combat ships with those buglas. But then demos arrived. The first one sunk a couple of fishing boats, but it was the second one that came in clutch, sinking so many of these buglas. And now Baltune does have the numerical advantage, starting to push this even more. He's taking out fishing boats. Crackedy, he has gotten a lot of momentum for himself.
Yeah, the water micro is just so on point here by Baltune. It feels like Myriad is struggling a little bit with that right now. And now Baltune, he's got the military lead by a lot. Even more archer ships as well, so the demo ships from Myriad. They're going to be hard-pressed to find any attempts at taking down these sprinkled ships from Baltune.
Yeah, Myriad does have new backlas on the field, though. Micro for Baltune might be a little overzealous here. He's actually close to losing one of his Lodya war galleys. And the demo is now coming in once again. Second demo gets a close-up hit on the bugla, but kind of does no damage here. Looks like once again this stalemate on the water continues. 2 douse, 2 buglas for Myriad. 3 war galleys for Baltune, with the 4th arriving in a moment.
It looks like Myriad is able to hold for now. However, behind this, a lot of the fishing ships have been killed there. So it's going to be 4 eco kills for Baltune. He's falling back over to his own side of the pond there in the middle. Right now, military numbers still in favor of Baltune. Just one of the... I think he needs some more fishing ships just to be able to repair his military ships a little bit quicker. Some of these are very heavily damaged right now.
Once again, Baltune is the one pushing up here. No demos on either side. There's one available somewhere, as we have a Desert Raider moving in here. Nice diversion by Myriad. He added that unit some time ago. He's actually on melee mode, though, and he's going to eat a lot of damage. In fact, gets taken out by the town center and the Kremlin.
If he just parked that one with this range attack over there, that would have been beautiful for him. He gets another one out. If this time he pays attention, just puts it in range mode and parks it on the gold, he's going to be in a very nice position. But now battle about to be happening here. Demo ships getting sniped by either player, or at least attempted to. Some micro coming out, but the root...
Ooh, nice demo hit coming in from 2 sides, actually, from Baltune. Sinking, once again, a couple of buglas. And number is now looking a lot better for Baltune. 3 war galleys against 3 buglas, but those buglas are heavily damaged. And Baltune has been doing this flanking maneuver very efficiently, coming in with demos from the south.
Yeah, especially on this map, it just allows for it so nicely to be able to go for these flanking maneuvers. A little bit of micro coming out on the demo ships, and Baltune once again gets repelled. Desert Raider coming in, please go into range mode.
Oh my lord, Desert Raider gets taken out once again. That's a lot of resources down the drain for Myriad. And
these are expensive units.
Yeah, those are expensive units, and they were doing so much damage there, shutting down the gold eco. With them being eliminated, Baltune gets his momentum back on water. Water still undecided between these 2 players here. Baltune having been slowed down a little by that counterattack on land. He does have an eco deficit of about 4 at this point, but he has definitely been the more effective player when it comes to the naval engagements.
Yeah, the trades here so far definitely have been in favor of Baltune. Still, the one thing that I think Baltune needs to be doing here is he needs to get just a couple more fishing ships out. He still only has a single fishing ship. If he gets another one out, he could easily be able to repair some of his ships. And right now, there's still a couple of very much damaged ships that are definitely in need of repair. Like, if he just gets to repair them, he's going to have a lot more value in these fights. Look at that. We see the conga line here of lumber camps in order to spread out the boost from the Kremlin, the plus 20% wood gathering bonus. Myriad has a little bit of a long walk there with the wood gathering. He definitely does have enough wood in the bank though, so wood is not the issue for him right now. Definitely needs a little bit more food.
Yeah, Baltune's gold eco was a little wacky for the last minute or so. He kind of had to pull away the villagers because of those raids, but now he's mixing in Lancers. First Knight is on the way, and Myriad doesn't have a single land unit. A lot of villagers from Myriad are actually on berries. There's even a villager creeping up here as well. As much as Baltune got caught off guard by the first and second Desert Trader, the same could happen to Myriad facing those Knights.
The one time you don't want to be making knights against any civilization, it's probably against the IU bits, right? Another Desert Raider is going to be in queue. Those Desert Raiders have 5 melee armor, and they do like 13 bonus damage against cavalry.
Yeah.
They are probably the best counter unit in the game, by far, in the feudal age, against those knights.
Yeah, they absolutely are. You feel like it's a matter of, okay, will that Desert Raider be out there to deal with this? Myriad, he actually made a new one, but for quite some time he had no Desert Raiders. So if he had none of those on the field, those Knights could have done a lot more damage. But yeah, you're right. If Myriad has some of those Desert Raiders, he can eliminate this threat of the Knights.
Desert Raider is going around again. Is he going to be looking for the gold? I hope this time it's going to be in range mode. It's in melee mode.
This is concerning for Myriad. He might lose this unit once again. Okay, now he's switching to range
Oh,
mode.
okay.
But he doesn't have anything back at home to defend against this. This is what I was kind of talking about. This Desert Trader isn't at home. Means that these Knights will have a field day here on the Lumberjacks.
At the same time, water aggression. This makes it so difficult, right? You have to focus on 2 sides of the map at the same time. Knight does get noticed out, though. At the same time, though, units are pushing on the water side.
Big naval fight here, Demo. Once again, closing distance, nicely sniped out by the Dows. It's a back and forth on the water. Army numbers looking a little better for Myriad, with 8 Buglaws on his side against the 6 War Galleys from Baltune. At the same time, though, Myriad's eco is being shut down on land. Demo once again creeping in from both sides. Demo getting very close here for Baltune. He chickens out with that one, pulls it back for the time being. He's waiting for the right opportunity to strike with those demos. Same for Myriad. He's got a couple of demos concealed between those Baglas. Baltune is pushing up though a little. Myriad has to flee with his villagers once again back at home. Lost a lot of eco to those Knights.
Yeah, lots of idle time has been caused there, and it's going to make it very difficult now for Myriad. Baltune, he's also produced a couple more fishing ships. Desert Raider goes down there to those attack ships. And Baltune, with these additional fishing ships, now actually has a very good eco lead.
Yeah, he does have the Roost lumberjacking bonus still, and Myriad had a lot of his lumberjacks idled, so that's definitely going to have an impact on the ability for Myriad to produce combat ships. Demos now coming in, beautiful snipes on both sides over here. Once again, fleets quick to take down the demo ships before they could do additional damage. And it doesn't seem like either of these players will be able to break this stalemate on water in the next few moments.
Say that, but both players are committing heavily here. Myriad has a couple of demolition ships in queue, but Baltune, he's got a ton of archer ships on top of everything else. This is a tough fight right now for both players. Demo ship is coming out, it's getting sniped just in time. Archer ship count starting to thin out a little bit, but Myriad right now, he doesn't... I'm not sure who's in the lead right now, actually. Both players are just reinforcing on water the entire time. Fishing
it feels
ships
like it's neck and neck.
Migrating.
The numbers are dead even, but it's Baltune who has to flee with his own fishing boats. Demos out there for Myriad, not so much for Baltune. He doesn't have a single demo ship right now.
Both players have some insanely low HP ships here. It feels like if one of them just focuses down the low HP ships and gets like 4 kills in a couple of seconds, the tempo in the battlefield just kind of shifts immediately.
Both of them just regrouping back at home, getting those ships back into working order. It's Baltune who's flanking to the north now, however. He does have 4 Loya galleys. Should be enough to deal with the 4 demos, but that's a lot of firepower when you look at those demos from Myriad. That is definitely his ticket to winning this game right now. And I think he's flanking to the south. He might be going for pincer move here.
Yeah, it's a very tough battle here to take around the middle, and Baltune, once again, he tries to get a dock up there on the sides. Desert Raider, once again, raiding the villagers here from Baltune. Gets a villager kill. Baltune is also getting some more Lancers out. And that dog looks to be
Demos
going
are
up
flanking
this time
to
around.
south, Crackedy. There they go. You can see the little red dots on the minimap. They're coming in from
going
two
around.
sides.
They went onto the fishing ships from looks of it, but fishing ships have a ton more HP. More
the
these
second
are good
wave.
connections.
Beautiful demos. Baltune got distracted by the demos coming from the south. Got a huge hit on his fleet from the north, but it might be insufficient still for Myriad. He's facing some dogs that do have some arrows to them placements on them. And Baltune, he still has a lot of awfully damaged ships, but he's able to hold this position still.
Couple additional demo ships are coming in. The archer ships have mostly been sniped out here. Once the archer ships are sniped out, the demos are going to have an easier time trying to get on the Springle ships. He's now diving onto the range of the emplacement dock. Is that going to be a connection? Oh,
Nope.
it did connect.
Oh,
it did
actually
connect.
it did.
Yeah,
It did
took down one
connect.
of the Springle ships and damaged another one. Another demo coming in.
Oh, it's actually to the north. Baltune has a demo to hit this fleet from the north, but he's not using it. He could have surrounded these Buglaws, but the Dow, quick to react, takes out the demo. Looks like the dock with the arrows that emplacements will keep this fleet of Buglaws at bay. And Baltune is actually chasing. He's looking to get some additional kills here. Now falls back, which kind of keeps this a status quo once again, Crackedy. Neither of these players breaking or being able to break this fleet from the enemy.
Oh, but behind all of that, looks like Myriad lost a lot of villagers there to a single knight on one of his woodlines. At the same time, Baltune, he also lost a couple of villagers to some desert raiders from the looks of it. So there have been some kind of equal trades going out. Oh no, villagers don't do any damage to those. They got 5 melee armor. Villagers just flat out, they don't work. You cannot pull the villagers
yeah.
against them.
That's annoying for Baltune, though. His gold mine is being shut down, and he needs that gold to produce new ships. He's trying to send some of his Lodya warboats back to deal with this desert raider. But Myriad, he actually has that camel on a stand ground, so he doesn't actually chase the villagers. Instead, keeps camping them down, and he has done a masterful job picking off those gold miners. At the same time, he is being aggressed on his lumberjacks, but camels are there to react. You feel like
Desert
Myriad's
Raiders,
raiding potential is a
so
lot
good.
higher than it is for Baltune.
It would have been, but once again, Desert Raider kind of gets thrown away there. And yeah, Baltune is once again going to have safe access to gold. But yeah, the Desert Raiders so far, they've been doing an absolutely amazing job of dealing with those knights. Just by far the best counter unit any civilization could have to knights in any age.
This game is dragging out a lot here, Crackedy, and we could easily see one of these unique and fairly rare water games where it actually drags out to be an hour long, and ultimately it gets decided on land, because at this point we're seeing walls coming up from Myriad. He's actually piling up a lot of food and wood. I think if this game continues the way it has been running for the last 10 minutes, we could see one of these players trying to make something happen by going into Castle Age.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I'm surprised that both players are still on water, like relatively even here right now. Baltune, though, I feel like he has been the one to make a couple more fishing ships than Myriad. His food economy overall, it's only on water, but for it being only on water, it is looking relatively nice. Now, Myriad, he is on deer, so he's got a very nice influx on the food economy on his side. And that might be just what he needs to be able to go up to the next age. Now, he just needs a lot of gold, and I think at some point here, he's probably going to have to shift like 6-8 villagers over on gold. Another fight happening in the middle now. There's a ton of demo ships, actually. 7 demo ships and only 3 archer ships. More in the queue. A couple demo ships do get taken out, though. But if Myriad just snipes out the archer ships here, those demo ships are going to get a lot of connections.
Oh, they are closing in, and that is the critical mass of demos, allowing him to sink most of the fishing fleet. Not enough archer ships from Baltune to deal with them. But Baltune keeps his navy alive for the time being, looking for a counterattack. 10 Buglaws against 9 War Galleys. The numbers once again looking very even between the two players here.
The knight play, though, Baltune having 9 knights out, and there's not nearly enough Desert Raiders out for Myriad right now. He definitely needs a lot more there. And now Baltune, he's going to be flooding the base of Myriad with knights, and Myriad, he just doesn't have the gold right now. He's been investing so much gold into those demo ships. I don't think he has enough production buildings as well to get out enough Desert Raiders to deal with that.
Yeah, right now we're looking at 3 Desert Traders against 10 Knights, and those Desert Traders are being taken out. A lot of raiding potential here from Myriad, but at the same time, he might be very close to breaking this position on water. Everything just transpiring at the very same time. Demos coming in from both sides over here. Heavy casualties for Myriad and Baltune on the water. But Myriad is getting raided to oblivion here on land. Too distracted by the water fight. He's not pulling away the villagers, and his lumberjacks have just gotten butchered. Down by 13 eco now he is, and his fleet is also vanishing. He's out of gold. Things are falling apart here for Myriad.
Yeah, Baltune doing an incredible job here on both the land and the water at the same time, multitasking both armies, and with that, taking down a whole bunch of Myriad's economy. Myriad behind all of this, by the way, he went on to his second TC, and it feels like he was lacking the military production deal with that. He's trying to get more production buildings out now, but because of all of this, he's losing the water now. Oh?
I feel like now we've reached this critical breaking point with Baltune's Nitrates. Both players tried to make something happen by making a heavy investment, either on land or on water. Baltune went with heavy Knights, Myriad went with heavy Demos, and it looks like this heavy commitment to Knights paid off a lot better than the heavy commitment to Demos did on the other side.
Yeah, I feel like the Demos were mostly at one point just a throwaway. Like, most of them just died to the fishing ships there and the archer ships. Not a lot of value. Like, you don't want to be trading off the demo ships against Ruse fishing ships. They just have so much HP. You need like four demo ships in order to kill them. Oh, Desert Raiders. The charge damage makes a big difference there, though. There's just not enough of them out right now, of the Desert Raiders. Knights don't even lose a single one.
Have a lower base HP than Camel Riders do. So
yeah,
once you get into melee and once you're outnumbered heavily by Knights, they die fairly quickly.
He's just trickling them in one by one. That's not going to be enough, and the Knights, they're just going to be able to sit here indefinitely for now. Once again, Knights in the wood line, and with that, GG gets called. Myriad just knows he lost too many villagers here to be able to continue this fight.
Oh my lord. This momentum swing came a lot better, or a lot later than I anticipated it would. This game was so balanced for such a long time, but you can clearly see where this went wrong for Myriad. This one strong counterattack of Knights just swinging this in the favor of Baltune. And we see this so frequently on hybrid maps, Crackedy. Players are very focused on the water micro simply because they cannot afford to suffer from some massive demo hits. But oftentimes that's a distraction from their land-based eco, which is often prone to some raiding. That's kind of what we've seen here, at least from Baltune's side, being utilized.
Yeah, I mean, it was just one big fight there towards the end. Until then, it was very balanced here between both players. And yeah, just at the end, the micro on both sides and having the presence of mind to be able to go for both of these kind of approaches, both on land and water. That was just one Baltune the fight there in the end. And it was a good approach by Myriad. I think there were a couple of things that he could have probably done better. We saw it early on with the feudal age timing, not being as quick as he definitely could have gotten it. But overall, like, Myriad did a good job there to hold on water. Like, those were some very vicious attacks from Baltune on water.
Oh yeah, I mean, this definitely was a game that either of these players could have secured, and especially when you look back at those initial Camel Raiders just getting taken out so easily, if those survived a little longer, if they were positioned right next to the gold mine with the bows on instead of the melee attack being toggled, those could have done a lot more damage to Baltune's eco, and we could have seen a victory here from Myriad off the back of that. So definitely, Myriad had his windows, but things just didn't work out as he wanted them to. And now, this puts Baltune into a 2-0 lead. Myriad, once again, is going to have to choose the upcoming map here. He can opt to go for either of his last remaining home map, or he can pick a home map from the opposing side. Let's take a look at what he selected here in the draft.
Yeah, it's interesting that the last game that we saw, he did pick the home map from Baltune. And this time, he picks Four Lakes. So once again, picks the home map from Baltune, and we're going to be seeing the Abbasid dynasty against the Japanese. And Japanese, they're looking very solid on water as well. Now, I think they're very similar when it comes to their water bonuses to the Abbasid or the Ayyubids. So what the Japanese get on water as the bonus is they're only paying 45 wood for every single one of the fishing ships compared to 75 wood. And what the Ayubids and the Abbasids get is they only pay 75 wood for their docks instead of 150. So after a certain time, like the Ayubids and the Abbasids, they get like this immediate big payoff, while the Japanese, they get a bigger payoff over time when they invest onto these docks in those ponds.
I think one of the big things to look at here for the Abbasids on 4 lakes specifically is that cheaper docks allow you to creep onto the enemy pond a lot easier. So that's definitely a type of aggression that I expect to see from Baltune. Whereas for Japanese, as you said, it's more about building up that massive number of fishing boats, probably only on your safe pond at the back, unless you see a window to expand to one of these neutral ponds. But it feels like, just based on this civilization matchup, that Baltune kind of needs to be the aggressor here with those cheaper docks, try to contest the starting pond of his opponent. And at the same time, Myriad needs to make sure he doesn't lose that pond, because if he does, a lot of his fishing boats that he wants to rely on so heavily will be taken out.
I think it can be very difficult in general to try to hold water against the Japanese because what the Japanese get as one of their landmarks, it's going to be the Koka Township. What we can do with that is you get access to Shinobi. Shinobi's absolutely beautiful unit on hybrid maps. They synergize so well with the theme of hybrid maps. What they can do is they get a couple of abilities, some very, very fun abilities actually. They can disguise themselves as their enemy villagers, they can teleport themselves, and they also have another very, very annoying ability that they can use.
Oh yeah, they can definitely torch down some enemy docks, set them on fire. That's gonna be an annoying thing to deal with, and if there is any kind of map where that becomes relevant, it actually is exactly this type. Just as a bit of a side note, it's not even about taking down the enemy dock on their own pond. It's gonna be more relevant when it comes to contesting enemy docks on those neutral ponds, or even your own pond. If Baltune makes an attempt to try and contest the starting lake of Myriad, he drops a dock. Baltune or a Myriad can utilize some of the Shinobi to just torch that dock down quickly. So there's definitely a lot of potential in the Shinobi build over here, and probably not so much when it comes to the Kura storehouse, which is usually the landmark of choice for Japanese players on land-based maps.
Exactly, but it's not even about the torch down. The Shinobi, they sabotage the buildings as well, so a unique ability for Shinobi is when they sabotage a building, it has like a 1 minute cooldown for 30 seconds. That building is not going to be able to produce any more units, or rather, units that are going to be built, they're stuck in queue. They just don't get progress at all. So imagine that Baltune builds a dock on your pond, you sabotage the building, the ships just don't get out. They're going to be stuck there forever, and you just don't even have to really react to that at all.
Only 30 seconds left to go here, folks, in this best of 5. Baltune, seed number 5 against Myriad, seed number 14, has a 2-0 lead right now. This is going to be the second home map that Myriad has chosen. I guess this is where we want to highlight that Myriad opted to go for his opponent's home map in both of these cases. He had the option to choose any of his own home maps, opted to go for the picks of his opponent. So if Myriad wins this game, we'll be playing the remaining 2 games on his home maps. So there is definitely going to be some level of advantage, at least from a home map perspective, coming in for Myriad if we go beyond game number 3.
Exactly. And here we go. Game number 3, just about to start. And there we go. Yeah, there we go. And we got Baltune playing in the color blue as the Bassett. On the opposite side, we got Myriad playing as the Japanese, one of the new civilizations that we got in the Sultan's Ascent DLC. And we're here on 4 legs, a well-known map so far in the by now in the Age of Empires 4 tournament scene. We got those 4 ponds in every single corner. Definitely a hybrid map, so players will be looking to get some of their own fishing going on. Both of these civilizations very, very strong on water maps, as we've talked about before. It's gonna be interesting to see like the kind of different timings that we can get out here. Now, Abbasid, they can't rush up their age ups. However, when they age up, they don't need to pull any villagers onto building those age ups. So they do save a little bit of idle time there. And the economy from Abbasid in general on these hybrid maps tends to be very, very solid. Like usually we can see some very fast castle age timings out of them. And then they get to a point where they're able to just flat out units onto the map. And maybe the Japanese could potentially hold this, as they do also get access to some very cool units here.
Yeah, certainly. But the first thing that we'll have to look at is Baltune potentially contesting Myriad's pond. He does have the discount on those docks, so he can justify sneaking a villager to the northern pond, trying to drop his own dock, and then contesting the fishing eco of Myriad. That has been the theme for most of the Four Lakes games, but that's something that you can accomplish even better with the Abbasids, given this discount on the dock.
Indeed, but now both players just looking around with their scouts, making out on which pond their opponent has gotten their dock up. Baltune's gonna scout out that Myriad has docked on the upper side here of the map, already 2 fishing ships out. We talked about the different bonuses earlier. So the Abbasid, they do get cheaper docks, and the Japanese, they get cheaper fishing ships. So it kind of evens itself out a little bit. Myriad actually got a lot of sheep there. Look at that. Has a whole bunch of sheep. He's also got a villager out on the berries early on as well. Overall, so far, looking fairly similar, I believe, when it comes to the economy. Actually, Myriad. Oh yeah, because that's another really nice thing to take note of here. Because the fishing ships for the Japanese, they cost so little, only 45 wood each. You're able to have a lot more villagers on sheep as well, on your food source. So you're able to get a lot more food in quickly early on in the game. And what that allows you to do is go for really, really fast fuel age behind all of this as well. Look at that. Myriad already halfway there when it comes to the food department.
And that could be devastating against the Abbasids. Abbasids obviously cannot rush their feudal age. That's a preset time that they have to wait. So when you have a head start, a massive head start that is going into feudal, and your opponent is also going to have to wait a lot, this allows you to have a massive advantage in feudal age timings. And that's something that you could do, for instance, to get some shinobi out like you kind of highlighted in pregame, or to just potentially play that standard land aggression from the Japanese. Some spearmen, some archers, maybe, just maybe, we could see an Uma Bannerman being used to raid. A lot of options would open up for Myriad if he would have a massive advantage going into feudal age.
Indeed, indeed. It feels like Baltune, he knows what's going to be coming, and he is going for a little bit of a counterplay against that. Now, Shinobis, you need 2 Shinobis in order to be able to completely lock out a production building. So what Baltune's doing is he placed an additional dock on his pond. He made them all pretty far away from each other. So that Myriad, he's going to need at least 4 Shinobi to be able to completely deny the fishing there from Baltune. And Baltune only needs a single archer ship to be able to kill the Shinobi and prevent them from being able to torch and sabotage his docks.
And there is the Koka Township coming in there for Myriad. So indeed, he is going to have access to those Shinobi, allowing him to torch down and sabotage enemy docks, not just on the starting pond of Baltune, but also on the neutral ponds. And if Baltune wants to harass the fishing eco of Myriad, Myriad is going to have a unit that can deal with those docks very quickly.
Now I hope Baltune is going to place his landmark not in a open position, because I think what the Shinobis can actually do is they can also sabotage the House of Wisdom and pretty much prevent it from aging up as well. That would be devastating if he puts like the House of Wisdom in a forward position and he just gets locked into Dark Age permanently.
Oh, that would be catastrophic. And,
oh
no. Oh, that's bad. that must be very bad.
It might be very bad. We'll see in a little bit. First Shinobi spawns immediately. You get 1 Shinobi for free from the Koka Township. It's going to be making his way over immediately. Culture Wing is coming in. Culture Wing is probably the most used wing for Abbasid on hybrid maps, because with it you get the upgrade which reduces the cost of your next stage ups and also all of your upgrades as well. So you can get a very, very fast castle age in. Alright, Shinobi is on his way, but it looks like he's not making his way immediately to the landmark. Might just be on his way to the docks instead.
Yeah, I wonder if Myriad actually scouted the position of the landmark, but if he did, as you said, best course of action is to shut it down and prevent your opponent from aging up. It looks like this Shinobi is hunting for docks, though.
There he
honestly,
is.
if he sees the landmark, he should go for the sabotage on there. We're gonna see in a split second. Looks like he's going to just open with the sabotage on the dock itself, it's going to set it on fire. And there's a second Shinobi coming in as well. It's not like Baltune has much to repair this with.
Yeah, it always looks a little bit dangerous when it's already up in flames. So it's kind of like a psychological effect as well. And we see Myriad, he's already got 4 Shinobis out. If he gets all of them out onto the docks there, he's going to be able to completely shut out Baltune from being able to produce any military ships as well here. There's already a stable out as well. Oh, they teleport over.
Jump right next to it. But Villager keeps the dock alive for the time being. Villager does get taken out by the Shinobi though. And once again, dock is lit aflame. But Myriad hasn't sabotaged the Culture Wing here, so I guess in many ways, Baltune has dodged the bullet.
Exactly. H-Up is going to be coming in. Myriad also getting some horsemen out. Baltune, he is making a barracks. So he could potentially be getting out some spearmen. Now, the Shinobis, they do a lot of damage to melee units as well. So they have a 20 base damage, which is quite high. And then they do an additional 5 damage to melee units. So they actually trade really, really well against spearmen.
And they're not expensive. 60 food, 60 gold for a unit that's so devastating in a hybrid map scenario is immensely valuable for Myriad. Myriad himself has 2 pawns under his control now. There is a galley out, pushing away the Shinobi.
Dock. That might actually save Baltune the water there. Oh, he has to be careful. Those Shinobi do so much damage, and they got fast attack speed as well. First villager goes down, second villager about to go down as well. Already 4 villagers down now.
Look at the range on that unit. Finally, the Shinobi gets taken out, but the value is so massive. They are still torching down docks. They managed to kill quite a few villagers, and you feel like there is just no momentum here right now for Baltune.
There might be. Base. He's about to reach Castle Age, or he's about to be able to click Castle Age. With the Culture Wing, he should already be able to click it. I'm not sure why he hasn't clicked up to Castle Age yet.
Oh, that's very true. He could still be sabotaged on his age up, but at least he's going to have Castle Age. I just don't know how fragile his eco is going to be by the time he arrives. Good trade over here with the galley taking out some Shinobi. He is not having Preservation of Knowledge, Crackedy. He needs to wait until he finishes the attack.
At least Preservation of Knowledge has been buffed some time ago, so it only takes 30 seconds to research. It's still going to save him a lot of resources. It's still definitely worth to go for. He cancelled it. Wait, no, what? He cancelled it? For age up?
And now he's aging up with the military wing, paying full price for this one.
Oh, no, that is... I'm confused. That makes no sense at all. But he's going for it. He's going to get military wing. He's going to get a couple of free camel riders out. That hurts. That's like a ton of resources. A ton of resources that he's wasted there. That's roughly...
Also a lot of time.
Yeah, I think it's roughly like 400 resources that he just gave up there with the Preservation of Knowledge. But military wing is going to be coming in soon here now for him. 1 minute remaining.
Crackedy. He's in big trouble. By the time he
Myriad
gets up to Castle Age, Myriad is going to be up to Castle himself. And his eco is fueled by 3 pawns worth of fishing. This is being played so well by Myriad. And as you see, he's going up with the floating gate. He's going to have the Yorishiro available to buff production. Right now, as you said, the Camel Riders, they won't really have a natural counter from Myriad, but that probably won't last very long.
Spearman fighting against the Shinobi. Once again, Shinobi just doing so much damage there. A ton of production buildings have been placed down by Baltune, so he's definitely looking for a timing. The issue with that, though, is that there's not going to be a timing. Myriad, as he said, he's going to be in Castle Age as well, and he's got more resources to spend immediately once he reaches it.
Yeah, he's going to play into Samurai, though, apparently. He saw the military wing being constructed on the landmark. He should know that his opponent is also aging up, but Myriad has the upper hand and the better timing getting into Castle Age here. One thing he doesn't really have, though, is a standing army right now, and he doesn't really have a lot of gold to spend either. He's got a lot of food, but he's kind of constrained by the gold income and the wood income.
Indeed, but with the age up, he's immediately going to get a religious unit, so he's immediately in a position to be able to gather up some of these relics out on the map as well. That should definitely help him with the gold income as well. He's got 2 Yorishiros still sitting in space. He's not really put them into building yet. The Yorishiro, it's a unique kind of relic that you get with the floating gatehouse from Myriad. You can put them inside of production buildings or gathering buildings or even inside of your TC, and they give you different bonuses. if you put them inside your CC, your villagers only take 16 seconds to be produced instead of 20 seconds from that building.
That is a massive buff, and same goes for production buildings. You can accelerate your production in a very similar manner to the Chinese supervision, but it's also a lot safer because that Yorishiro isn't exposed to raids like Imperial officers are. Having said that, numbers aren't looking fancy for Myriad, and he's facing some Gulam, some crossbows, and some camels as well. He upgraded his DC, so now he's got access to one Bannerman, probably going to be a Samurai Bannerman, but for now he's missing spears to deal with these camel riders.
I like the composition in theory. Myriad is going for Samurai and Honorable Geisha. Also mixing in some Horsemen, I'm not sure about that. What I'm really confused about right now is just that he didn't immediately make use of the Yorishiros. He still got both of them sitting next to his landmark, and you want to make use of them as soon as possible. They bring you just so much value immediately, and because they're inside your base, you can get them into your buildings very quickly as well. Fight about to happen here. The Honorable Geisha, very good unit, has a ton of range, means that they're going to be able to attack from a second and even a third row in these battles. Able to deal a lot of damage out with the bonus attack speed. Now the Bannerman, Katana Bannerman, also coming out, buffing up the attack damage from all of these units. Question though, is Myriad going to be able to hold? There's a ton of crossbowmen out as well. The Honorable Geisha are now coming on to them.
Yeah, the Honorable Geisha move very fast. They can catch up to those crossbows. It's just a matter of getting rid of that front line. And it looks like, given that the camels are also heavily damaged, horsemen might become relevant. That Bannerman is, of course, coming in clutch. And with more infantry coming out, you feel like Baltune should be able to hold this.
Myriad should definitely be able to hold this. Look at that. He's got so many resources still in the bank. 1,700 food at this point in time. I think he should just be pulling half of his villagers off of wood and put them onto gold as well.
Yeah, he certainly should. He also needs to be cautious, being overzealous here and pursuing this army, because he has a very fragile army with the Honorable Geisha. They just die so quickly, and if you overextend like this, you will get repelled, and then once again, Baltune gets an opportunity to push you back. But with the camel slowly being taken out, Gulam also getting picked off, looks like Myriad is going to hold this, and a long slugfest like we are witnessing right now is definitely something that's more beneficial for Myriad. He has a much more sturdy eco. Although Baltune managed to sneak a dock on the enemy pawn, then this is exactly how Baltune could come back into this game.
On multiple pawns even, he's got a lot of docks going right now. And at the same time, Myriad, he's got some placement on the docks. He's getting stone naturally as the Japanese, getting 20% of gold gathered as additional stone. Yeah, Myriad right now, he doesn't have the military on land, even though he's got so many resources in the bank, and still the Yorishiros aren't used at all. The relics, at this point, I would just love to see Myriad put them inside of production buildings just to be able to get the units out quicker. He's got so many resources in the bank right now, just not being utilized.
Yeah, that's so painful. He needs quicker production here. He's slowly cleaning up these troops inside his base, but reinforcements are trickling in nicely for Baltune. Army numbers 30 to 20, though some of that are combat ships for Baltune. But the big thing here, Crackedy, this is a great diversion, allowing Baltune to take out a lot of those fishing boats. The eco that was so much better for Myriad some moments ago is now dead even. In fact, you see all the fishing boats are essentially gone from the starting pond of Myriad. The same can be said of his expansion ponds.
Some insane value there behind that Myriad. The third Yorishiro has actually been spawned by now. Still hasn't been placed yet. That's like 200 resources per minute that he's just not picking up right now. The Honorable Geisha doing a great job there in the front line. Doing a lot of damage there. And now he really needs to be in a position to push onto his opponent's base, because now Baltune, looking at his food income, he's looking in a little bit of a better position right now than Myriad is right now.
Yeah, 2 minutes ago, these numbers were flipped. Baltune had a lot better or a lot worse food eco than Myriad. Now Myriad needs to make something happen. He does have a decent army here, supported by some samurai. The Katana Bannerman gets taken out, but he needs to shut down this gold income. Speaking of which, the gold mine does get depleted in this very moment for Baltune. Might provide some valuable breathing room here for Myriad. It looks like Myriad is going to have to fall back over here. Loses a lot of Honorable Geisha to the arrow fire from the town center and the tower.
And behind that, Baltune's military still looking very solid in this point in time. Baltune behind all of that also expanding out onto the pawns of his opponent. He's going to be getting a lot of resource in through that now. And yeah, the food economy, it's just night and day difference right now. Myriad at 500 food per minute, Baltune at 1,500.
And Baltune has been taking more effective engagements as well. 6,400 resources worth of value destroyed compared to the 4,000 from Myriad. Those Onabugeisha die so quickly. And when you have the food eco half your opponents, you cannot afford to take suboptimal engagements like that.
More units coming out, but these Samurai, they're getting sniped out immediately by these crossbowmen. 2 Samurai immediately low HP. Now, Myriad, he's suddenly in a very bad position. He still has a ton of sheep under his TC, which he could be going for just to further increase his food income right now, as he is floating a ton of gold. I think maybe he overcompensated earlier for his lack of gold that he was having earlier. And now he's got too much gold, but not enough food.
Yeah, obviously losing the fishing eco is a big contributor to all these issues with the food. He's getting back onto the fishing, at least on the eastern pond and his own starting pond to the north. But it takes some time until that kicks off. And while that's happening, his production buildings are now being torched down by the Gulam. Army number is looking better for Baltune as well. 18 Gulam, 15 crossbows against 16 Samurai and 7 Onabugeisha, many of whom are heavily damaged over here. Looks like Myriad will be looking to take this engagement, once again pursuing this army. And the Gulam will stand and fight crossbows, getting shielded very nicely over here. And they are doing a great job picking apart these Samurai.
Yeah, all the Onabugeisha die pretty much immediately here. That's the thing with kiting, because the Onabugeisha are so fast, they're going to be exposed when you run away, because they're going to be the first on the line to run after your opponent. And then Baltune can just kite every now and then, get some shots in, and kill a lot of them. Now the Rams are also going to be coming in, and with that, all of the production buildings here are now going to be in danger.
Oh my lord, things are falling apart here for Myriad. 87 population against 118, with battering rams now being constructed by Baltune. His Gulam numbers are increasing, and on the other side, the Samurai number are now heavily decreasing. Horsemen being mixed in as well by Myriad. He's losing a lot of his production buildings. Food eco is back on track. He's floating a lot of gold, but he doesn't have the production to spend those resources with anymore.
He did finally use the Yorishiro relics, at least somewhere. So he is getting some bonuses through them. This is going to be enough, though, to make up for the losses that he's taken so far. The Ram is starting to take down the production buildings. 4 barracks already went down.
I don't know, Crackedy. It looks very grim now for Myriad. He has been taking some very ineffective engagements recently, and this is going to be another one of those. Samurai just get picked apart by the crossbows, and the Gulam provide this perfect front line to keep this army alive. Myriad's army is evaporating, and with that, his hopes as well of taking this game and turning this set around. Baltune, coming in very strong, finishes off Myriad 3-0 to move on to the next round of the qualifiers for EGC Finals 2023.